My name is Liat Berdugo. I'm an American and Israeli artist. I grew up in Philadelphia and I moved to Tel Aviv about half a year ago. And I'm here to talk to you today about technology and magic. So there are two seemingly opposing forces. Magic, the black hat, it offers to produce things from thin air, whereas technology, which is the black box, promises efficiency, right? Magic tricks you, and technology aids you. And magic cons your senses, whereas technology promises to augment them with its technological apparatus. And I want to tell you a little bit about how I got interested in this topic. So I'm an artist and I work primarily with video, and I became quite interested in the gestures of technology, right? The new ways that technology lets us move. So up here, these are diagrams from the Apple patent, which it owns on zooming, right? On this zooming gesture, it owns it. And so this is the drawings of zooming into San Francisco, probably to Palo Alto, where its offices are. And then these are video stills from a short video that I made where I recontextualize the zooming gestures and take the device out of it. So one of the reasons I'm just obsessed with zooming, and one of the reasons is that it's like the most primary new technological gesture that we have. And it's also a gesture of intimacy, right? It's a gesture of bringing something closer, of making something clear that was not clear before. So we're about to get quite intimate here, so here we go. Nope. So now you've seen my face as close as any lover in bed. But I became obsessed with the ways that technology make our body move, right? So it's not just that Gali talked about the power of the object, right? And the object actually has physical power over our bodies. And so when I began thinking about these gestures of technology, I began seeing a huge similarity between them and the gestures of magic. So this is on the left, it's a diagram of how to do a card swap in James's Conjuring book. And here is a two-handed rotate gesture from GestureWorks Open Library. Another example, on the left is how to do a Chinese count ball disappearing trick, and on the right is a four-finger flick, okay? And this next one is my favorite. On the top is a diagram of how to make a coin disappear by hiding it in your palm. And on the bottom, this is from the first Macintosh manual, okay? This is how to take the ball out of your mouse and clean it. So I began seeing all of these similarities, and probably a lot of you are familiar with this quote from Arthur C. Clarke, who wrote Space Odyssey, and he says, "Any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic." So what he means by this is that when technology becomes advanced enough, it seems like magic to us, right? And certainly magic and technology have a lot in common. They both engage with our sense of desire, right? We want that magic. And so the magic wand comes in many forms, right? The traditional one, or the one that the Hitachi magic wand, which satisfies other kinds of desires. But I think magic and technology have a much more complex relationship than just similarities and differences. And I want to explain to you a little bit about what I call the magic tech cycle, which are these three feedback loops between them. And then I'll tell you a little bit about my work that I've been doing around this. So the first feedback loop is that technology shapes how we view magic. And magic, in turn, sets codes and expectations for technology. So a really good example of this is what happens when you do a Google search, right? There's this one button there that says, "I'm feeling lucky." And what that does is it takes you directly to the first result. And luck is magic, right? You win the lottery, that's magic. But here it's equated to efficiency. So efficiency is the dominant paradigm in the Elulian technological society. And so what we have here is how magic is fueling this desire for efficiency. Another set of the Magitech cycle is how technology promises magic, and then magic in turn creates desire for more technology. So to see how technology promises magic, all you have to do is look at the names of the devices that are coming out, right? This is Apple's Magic Mouse. This is Apple's Magic Trackpad. This is the HTC Magic smartphone that was released in 2009. So technology is promising us this magic over and over. And the last loop of this cycle is the one that I think is the most interesting. So magic, we see, fuels new developments of technology because we want more magic. But then technology does this strange thing where it effaces the mystery of magic, right? It takes it away. And one way that this happened was when cinema actually came about, stage magic disappeared, right? Because anyone with a camera and a splicer could reproduce a trick. Another thing that I love is to look at all of these videos on YouTube about magic, right? What they usually are like is some man shows you a trick, and then he backs up and he says, I'm going to show you how to do it, okay? And usually there's a big spoiler alert, the reveal, like, okay, here I'm going to tell you how it's done. And then suddenly this technology shows you something, and once you know, the magic of it can't be undone, right? So technology takes away that magic. And so when I began to work with these cycles, I also started working with local magicians in the United States. So this is US-based magician Marvelous Marvin, and he is a child and a science musician, actually. He's a really good example of how science fuels magic now, because he makes his living doing these science magic routines. And I began working with him and injecting these gestures of technology into his routines. So I'm going to show you a quick video of him. So that's his interpretation of the zooming gesture. He took it into a pa, right? And I use video to almost make the gestures estranged in a way. I also began working with this magician, Bruce Calver, who is a world record holder for a number of, the length of time he did card tricks continuously without repeating one, okay? He did it in the Warwick Mall in Rhode Island for 16 hours in the 1980s, and it has never been beaten. And so Bruce Calver would do these tricks with me. He came into the studio, and he would say, I have cards, pick a card. And he could make things come out of thin air, and he would turn forks into spoons and turn spoons back into forks. And then he was also obsessed with technology, and so he would do these tricks on his iPad, and he would take out his iPad, and he would say, okay, pick a card. And then he would shuffle it by swiping. And then he would say, okay, here's your card. And I'd be like, so what? Like, that doesn't impress me. And so what we actually ended up doing was we developed these repertoire of tricks that he would perform both with physical objects and with his technological devices. I also started working to suspend that moment of disbelief and magic with technology. So this is a still from a 2-channel video installation where the author is attempting to fly. So I'm just going to run this for a little bit. It's a loop. Right, so flying almost becomes the most wished-for magical moment, and using this split-screen 2-channel installation to work with it. That's enough for now on that. I also started working in Apple stores. Okay, so I would go into Apple stores and I would clandestinely film Apple geniuses, and I would ask them to teach me how to zoom. I would say, I'm sorry, I don't know how to make something bigger. Would you please show me? And I think there were a lot of gender politics in that, which was quite interesting, because they were usually men, and I am a woman. But anyway, so I would film these moments where they would teach me these gestures of how to zoom. And the result of all of this investigation was a 10-channel video installation with some sculptural works on the side that I'll show you in a moment. But I just want to show you a little bit about what this looks like. This was installed in Providence, Rhode Island, and pieces of this work have also been exhibited around the world. So this video just runs for about a minute and a half. Right, so we have this constant and forever waving. And this is Bruce Calver, if you don't recognize him, the world record holder, showing how balls can appear and disappear. And so you've seen some of this before. So with this work, I was really asking the questions of what does technology promise us? And what are we willing to believe it can do? And what is it that we really are asking it and want it to do? So I know we're getting close to time, so I want to show you some of the sculptural works that were associated with it. This piece is called Rope Trick, and it's etched brass, gold-plated chains, and rope. And the necklace is based off of a trick that was in Randy James's book, Conjuring. And the etched brass hands in the rope are both sort of those of the magician doing the trick, and also those of whoever it is putting on the necklace. And putting on this charmed object with these huge hand charms. And the rope is sort of in this strange intermediate state between transformation and trick, right? It's a static object of jewelry and also a mobile prop of action. And in the other side of the case were these set of handcuffs in steel called Forget Having Ever. And these are all handcuffs taken from the Apple patent drawings of the different gestures that they own, and that can therefore not legally be implemented by any other object. And handcuffs are certainly about laws, and this is about a reference to who owns what, but it's also a reference to magic, right? Houdini used to handcuff himself and then get into barrels and then escape out of water. So these devices, they have multiple meanings. So this one is forget having ever scrolled otherwise. This is forget having ever swiped between full screen apps otherwise. And this is forget having zoomed otherwise. And actually, Apple owns the patent to zooming, right? And you can copyright dance under US copyright law. So I filed that video of me going like that with the US Copyright Office 8 months ago. And just last week, I got back a response from them. And they said to me that they couldn't accept the copyright because it was not choreography. It was an aerobic exercise program. So if any of you are looking to lose weight, I can now show you how. So thank you very much for listening, and thank you to Joshua for organizing, and you can find me there.
Great, thank you, Liat.